What's up, everyone? We're live. Whoops, microphone's over here. Should be here. What's up, everyone? We're live. We always have a few hiccups during live streams. That was one of them. Welcome and thank you for joining me. I don't go live very often. I'm trying to go live more often, so I thought I'd get on and do a little casual live stream with you tonight. The last live stream I did on Spanish in the Philippines was like a very put together, sort of almost formal kind of presentation. But I didn't want to do that today. I thought I'll just do a casual stream and have some fun right here with you guys, because whenever I put too much time and effort into a stream, it gets messed up by technical difficulties anyway, so I might as well just get on here with you, have some fun, and not take it too seriously, and just see how it goes. So today we're going to look back at one of my old videos from a long time ago, from 2018. I can't believe it's been that long, but it's I guess 8 years old. Wow. So it's sort of a Throwback Thursday. I intended to stream last night, but couldn't. So it's Throwback Thursday, but on a Friday. I'm sure you'll forgive me for that, but that's a little fail on my part. But thanks for being here. So we're going to watch that video again, and I'm going to pause a few times throughout the video and maybe elaborate and just talk about what's happening in the video, and maybe talk about some reactions I got to the video. And then after, I'll show you some of the comments that I got on that video. Because as you see in the video, I got people to create some of their own examples of Cockney rhyming slang. And some of them were pretty interesting. So I think we'll look at some of those during the stream, and then maybe you can create some too. So let's have a look at the video once again. Let me see who's in the chat first. Who is here with me? I see Bourbon Biscuit. Yo, what's up, Bourbon Biscuit? Let me highlight a few. Let me go back to Bourbon Biscuit first, because I mentioned him. Bourbon Biscuit says, yo, what's up, Bourbon Biscuit? Who's this? Well, hello, I think you're writing to me in Welsh or something, but I can't understand it. But hello, thank you for being here. An example of Cockney rhyming slang. Well, we'll get into that in a minute, man. Don't ruin the surprise for people who haven't seen the original video. I've got a good morning. Good morning to you too. I like you so much. I say bonjour to you from France. Well, bonjour to you too. We've got a hello from Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Thank you for being here. And we've got a sup, Mr. P from Vincent. What's up, Vincent? Mr. V. We've got a good evening. Good evening to you too. We've got a hi. Hi. And have a good one from Mysterious DSF. Okay. So I'm going to get into the video now. Just wanted to say hi to the early birds who are here before we get started. Okay, so this is the video. This is the thumbnail of the video that I want to go back to. It's about Cockney rhyming slang. As you can see, the thumbnail wasn't the greatest, but hopefully the video is interesting. And right off the bat, I have to say, oh my gosh, did I look terrible 8 years ago when I made this video? You'll see it when we start rolling a little bit. This was a difficult time for the channel because it was during the adpocalypse on YouTube. I don't know if you remember the adpocalypse, but it was a time when there were some controversial things found on YouTube. So YouTube went crazy in demonetizing channels and deleting channels. So you had to be super careful about everything you did. And my videos were getting demonetized for mysterious reasons. But it was a stressful time, and I was already kind of stressed out by everything with the channel. So if I seem half dead in this video, it's probably the adpocalypse. All right, I'm going to put on my headphones so I can hear the video as I show it to you. Okay, here we go. Hello, YouTube artificial intelligence bots. Please don't demonetize me. This video has nothing to do with Brexit, and there's absolutely nothing about the word Cockney. Today I want to examine a unique and extremely creative form of English slang called Cockney rhyming slang. Cockneys are traditionally defined as people living within earshot of the Bow Bells of the St. Mary-le-Bow Church in the East End of London. Okay, so let me pause for a second. Some people actually reacted to that and they said, no, living within earshot of the Bow Bells of the St. Mary-le-Bow Church does not make you a Cockney. Being born within earshot of the church makes you a Cockney. So you have to be born there. You can't move there later and still be a Cockney. Well, I guess at least you have to be raised there and be familiar with the Cockney culture and language or accent. And another thing people said was that it's not actually in the East End of London, it's in the City of London. The City of London meaning the historical core of London, not in the East End.
The St. Mary Le Bow Church in the East End of London. But the term Cockney has come to refer to working-class Londoners in various parts of the city and surrounding areas. Cockney rhyming slang was first mentioned in a book published in 1859 and had probably begun to be used in the 1840s. So what the heck is it? Okay, I'll give you the most basic and cliché example of Cockney rhyming slang.
I went up the apple and pears.
The phrase apples and pears is a substitute for the word stairs. So you take a word that rhymes with the original word and then use it to create a pair of related words. That pair of words now represents the original word, in this case, stairs. Here's the most interesting part. The second word of the pair, the one that rhymes with the original word, is usually left out, as in, I went up the apples. But how are you supposed to know what it means? Well, originally, this kind of slang was not meant to be understood by everybody. It was created by street merchants and criminals in order to prevent other people from understanding what they were talking about. But it soon became a colorful form of expression rather than just covert communication. Let's look at some more classic examples. We'll start with the word house. A rhyming word is mouse. A complementary word is cat. So cat and mouse means house.
I went inside the cat and mouse and up the apple and pears.
It's theoretically possible to shorten both of the rhymes and say the sentence,
I went inside the cat and up the apples.
But it would probably be said the long way in order to be less confusing. Here's another example using an animal word. The original word is phone. Phone rhymes with bone. What animals are normally associated with bones? Dogs, of course. So dog and bone means phone. So there's this sentence,
Pass us the dog.
meaning pass me the phone. In Cockney speech, sometimes the plural pronoun us can be used with the singular meaning instead of me. Here's one more sort of household object, freezer. A rhyming pair is Mona Lisa. Notice here that in my North American accent, Lisa and freezer don't rhyme. But the Cockney dialect and most dialects of England are non-rhotic, meaning that the R consonants are only pronounced before vowels. Freezer in North American English is Frieza in Cockney English, and Lisa rhymes with Frieza.
I got some hands and feet from the Mona.
This sentence seems a bit strange. You've got hands and feet in your freezer? Well,
Okay, let me pause there just for a second. So they were talking about how Lisa rhymes with Frieza in the Cockney accent, or maybe in British accents in general, because they're non-rhotic. They don't have the R sound at the end of the syllable and at the end of the word here. So some other examples that could be used this way might be like tuna, or I guess it would be tuna and tuna. So tuna as in the fish, and then tuna as in like a radio tuner. So to me, they're different. There's tuna and tuner, but in their accent, tuna and tuna would be the same or quite similar. Not sure if they're exactly the same, but they'd both be non-rhotic, so they'd sound similar. Another one would be soul and soul, like soul as in like I saw, and soul as in like sore. My eyes are sore, like that. It would be similar. It's non-rhotic, and the vowel is different than mine too. So I think they'd both be something like soul, soul. My eyes are soul. My eyes are soul, or something like that, or I soul. But then again, if it's in a sentence, you'd add the intrusive R. So like I saw a kid on the street, like saw, you'd add an R, an intrusive R, if there's something after the verb saw, if there's a vowel after it. Another one would be paw and pour. So like a dog's paw, and then pour, like to pour a drink. So pull and pull. They both sound similar, if not the same.
Well, no, actually, that's another piece of rhyming slang, meaning meat. But speaking of hands and feet, here we have a pair of Germans. German what exactly? German bands, and bands rhymes with hands. German bands refers to traveling musicians from Germany who used to perform in British cities in the 19th century. Another one. Here we have a pair of plates.
Okay, I have to pause for a minute because a lot of people didn't catch that the first time I released this video. Only a few people commented on it. Let me see if you catch anything when I go back for a couple seconds.
In British cities in the 19th century. Another one.
Okay, that's DJ Khaled. So this was a little Easter egg that I threw in. It's just for a second. It just flashes on the screen for a second, just to see who would catch it. When I say another one, I showed DJ Khaled on the screen because this was a meme that was spreading all over the internet in those days. That was one of his catchphrases, another one. To be honest, I don't even know the origin of it. I just saw it spreading all over the internet, and I decided to throw one in just to see who would catch it. And a few attentive people did catch it, and some of them said that was a smooth move.
Here we have a pair of plates. Plates of what? Plates of meat, which of course rhymes with feet. And here's your loaf. Loaf of bread, of course. Bread rhymes with head. And here's your boat, short for boat race. Race rhymes with face. And here are your minces. Mince pies, which rhymes with eyes. And this one can be heard all the time. And here's your north and south. In other words, your mouth. There are often a number of different rhymes with the same meaning. Here we have bottle of beers, or King Lears, or lords and peers. Of course, these all rhyme with ears. So we could refer to your ears as your bottles, or your kings, or your lords. There are lots of Cockney rhymes that include cultural or literary references.
There's a cup and Geoffrey on the table.
Geoffrey comes from Geoffrey Chaucer, and Chaucer rhymes with saucer. Geoffrey Chaucer is called the father of English literature, and is the author of the Canterbury Tales.
Just a note about Chaucer. In university, I had to read Chaucer, but it's written in Middle English, so it was difficult to understand. And I remember we had a translation written under each line. So we had the Middle English sentence, followed by the Modern English sentence to make it much easier to understand. Even pronouncing it takes some practice, and you have to learn how the different vowels, how the same vowel symbols were pronounced differently. And also just the meaning. A lot of words are different. A lot of words might mean the same thing, but they appear in a different form or they're pronounced differently. So it's interesting, but hard to understand. So if you read Chaucer, get a bilingual Chaucer. Bilingual? Kind of bilingual. Middle English and Modern English.
Let me boil some water in the Hansel.
Hansel comes from Hansel and Gretel, which is more like Hansel and Gretel in Cockney pronunciation, and Gretel rhymes with kettle. Hansel and Gretel is a German nursery rhyme published by the Brothers Grimm in 1812. So here we should note that the T in water, as well as the T in Gretel, is generally pronounced as a glottal stop in Cockney English. So while in some British accents it would be water, in Cockney it's water, and rather than Gretel, it's Gretel. And we heard the same thing before in the word bottle, which is pronounced bottle.
And that's like a stereotype of British English. People generalize that to other accents too. So when they make fun of British people, they'll often say like, bottle of water. Can you get me a bottle of water? And they emphasize the glottal stops, which is really it's limited to certain accents. Not everyone uses the glottal stop there in the UK, but people use that to poke fun at British people.
Other rhymes reference celebrities and influential people.
Tell me the babe.
Babe comes from Babe Ruth, the legendary American baseball player. Ruth rhymes with truth, so this means tell me the truth.
Let's go for a couple of Britneys.
Britney comes from Britney Spears, the American pop singer. Spears rhymes with beers, so this means let's go for a couple of beers. From that last one, you can see that new Cockney rhyming slang is being created all the time. There are classic rhymes and there are modern rhymes, but whether these modern rhymes are legitimate Cockney rhyming slang or not is up for debate. Some of them are widely considered mockney rather than Cockney. Mock meaning imitation or fake. Cockney rhyming slang is not only used by genuine Cockneys these days, it has found its way into the speech of people all over the UK and even further afield. And some people imitate a Cockney accent and throw in Cockney rhyming slang even though they're not from London and not working class. If we take a look at Britney Spears on cockneyrhymingslang.co.uk, we see that opinions are divided over whether this one is classic, modern, or mockney. I would think that this one should be modern or mockney, since a classic would be something like apples and pears that has been used for decades. I guess if you like the rhyme, you'd probably classify it as modern. If you don't like it and think it's corny and inauthentic, you'd probably say it's mockney. So what do I think? Is it modern or mockney? Well, I ain't British, so I ain't got a Scooby. Scooby. Scooby-Doo. Clue. Ain't is a negative copula and auxiliary verb that originated in Cockney English. Ain't got means haven't got or don't have. There are a lot of Cockney
Let me pause for a second. When I made this video, I thought I did pretty well. I thought I did pretty good at saying, I ain't got a Scooby. I'm British, so I ain't got a Scooby. Something like that. I practiced it more back then. I'm sure real British people hearing that would think that I sound totally inauthentic, but because of the glottal stops, it feels British to me. It feels like Cockney to me. Like I'm British, so I ain't got a Scooby. I'm sure they would rip that apart. If you saw the video I did last year about me imitating a British accent and trying to fool British people, at that time, like that was more than a year ago, and I haven't practiced it. But I practiced for like 3 weeks, and they still knew that I wasn't a native speaker of British English, at least. Some people thought I was an immigrant, which these days is not uncommon. They thought I was an immigrant who had learned British English, which makes sense. But we can kind of fool ourselves when we take on that accent, but it's harder to fool native speakers, right?
rhyming slang expressions that are rude, naughty, and downright dirty. We're going to avoid the rated R ones, but the next couple are kind of PG-13.
PG-13, by the way, is a movie rating, at least in North America, or in the United States mostly. In Canada, we have a different rating system. But PG-13 means parental guidance unless you're 13 years or older.
That bloke over there is a merchant.
Merchant banker. Wanker.
Last night I got a bit Brahms and fell on me Harris.
Brahms and list. Pissed, as in pissed drunk. Eris. Aristotle. Bottle. Bottle and glass. Os. To finish.
Let me go back to that one for a second, because it was Cockney Rhyming Slang, but then the abbreviated word actually sounds like the word that it's supposed to mean. Right? So it's Aristotle. Aristotle rhymes with bottle, and it's bottle and glass. So gloss, I should say, gloss and os. That's the rhyme for os, bottle and gloss, and then that's shortened to bottle, and then it gets doubled to Aristotle, and then auris, Aristotle. So auris sounds a lot like os, doesn't it? But it's rhotic because it's 2 syllables. So it has the R at the beginning of the second syllable. So rather than saying os, it becomes like auris, which is what I used to think arse was pronounced like. I used to think os was pronounced arse because I didn't know that it was non-rhotic. So when I saw it in writing, I would think it was arse. But Aristotle's abbreviation, auris, sounds kind of like the way I thought os was supposed to sound.
To finish this video, I'd like you to practice the pattern of Cockney rhyming slang by creating your own Cockney rhyme. To all the genuine Cockneys out there, I'm sorry for the sacrilege. I know that I'm encouraging large-scale mockney, but it's all for the purpose of understanding the pattern of genuine Cockney rhyming slang. So remember the pattern. Take a word, like socks. Find a rhyming word, blocks. Add another word to make a pair, Lego blocks. Then take away the rhyming word, Lego. Then in the comments, write a sentence that gives some context so we can guess the word. My feet were cold, so I put on me Legos. Be sure to follow.
All of those guys I showed on the screen, they are people who are known in the UK for using Mockney. Like, they're not actually Cockneys, but they speak like they're Cockneys. So they're sort of made fun of in the UK. So when I was making the video, I looked for celebrities like that who are known for using Mockney, and I put them on the screen just so people from the UK would notice that as another Easter egg.
Lang Focus on Facebook, Twitter.
Okay. So I want to show you some of the comments that I got in response to that video, because people answered that question, or that call for Mockney, and they created their own examples of Cockney rhyming slang. Mockney, of course, but some of them were pretty interesting. So I'm going to show you their comments. Okay, so starting with this one right here. This video is very Robin. So what do you think that means? Think about it for a second while I try to get queued up here. This video is very Robin. Robin Hood. What rhymes with hood? Good. So I think this person was saying, this video is very good. So that was a good example of a Cockney rhyming slang created on the spot, right? This video was pretty hands. This is another one like that. Hands and feet. And I think feet is supposed to rhyme with neat. So they said the video was neat. So another good example. Thought this was extremely bugs. Bugs Bunny. What rhymes with bunny? Funny, right? I thought this was extremely funny. And I also noticed that this person skipped the subject at the beginning, which is why I paused before I read it, because I've sort of trained myself to always say the subject and always write it. So when I saw that they had skipped the subject at the beginning, which is becoming more and more common these days, I was thrown off for a moment. Is this geezer having a bubble? So bubble is short for bubble bath, and that means laugh. Bubble bath and laugh. You might be thinking, hey, laugh and bath don't rhyme. Bath ends in a TH and laugh ends in a F sound, right? An F. But in the Cockney accent, the TH sound is actually pronounced as an F, as a F sound. It's not written with an F, but it's pronounced with a F. So they'd say bath, bath, boff or boff or bath. I think it's boff. Bubble bath and laugh, right? So they rhyme in the Cockney accent. And another funny thing here, he says geezer. Is this geezer having a bubble? So geezer, I think, just means guy or man, right? But when I was a kid in Canada, people were familiar with the collocation old geezer. Old geezer, which I guess is a common collocation. Those two words are often used together. So we thought it meant old person, old man. Just the word geezer by itself meant old man. So if we saw an old man, we'd say like, who's that geezer? Or something like that. But we meant old man. Or we'd say, that we thought it meant old specifically, not just a man. So we misunderstood that collocation. Another one, like the previous one, are you having a Turkish? So Turkish bath and laugh. Laugh and bath. Laugh and bath. I have to try hard to say bath with an F at the end. I can't really say it like that naturally without intentionally doing it. This guy has the brass. So brass is short for brass tacks, and tacks rhymes with facts. So this is a real one. I don't think this commenter made this one up, because I remember hearing this on Breaking Bad. Remember the lawyer, Saul Goodman? He always said, let's get down to brass tacks. Like, let's get down to the facts. Let's get down to like the core of the issue. He always said that. And that was the first time I had ever heard that expression. But I think it used to be more common than it is now. Pour us a cup of hot Bruce. So Bruce is short for Bruce Lee, which rhymes with tea. Pour me a cup of tea. This one is interesting. An emerging one is, he's got the Miley. So remember, I released the video in 2018. This comment was released, it says 5 years ago, but I guess it was probably 2020 during the pandemic. He says, an emerging one is, he's got the Miley. Miley being Miley Cyrus, which rhymes with virus. I'm hesitant to say the word now, even 6 years later, because at the time they were zapping channels left and right for talking about this. But I like the reaction. Mockney alert. So this one is not used by authentic Cockneys. So somebody pointed that out. And then the third comment is also making fun of this Mockney, saying, got a bubble. Like, got a bubble bath, got a laugh. But based on the emoji, he's not actually laughing. He's sarcastically saying, oh, that's funny. So he's making fun of using Miley to represent the virus. This vid opened my meat pies. Now I know where Aussies get it from. So meat pies rhymes with eyes. This video opened my eyes. Now I know where Aussies get it from. So there is some Cockney rhyming slang. I guess it's just rhyming slang. It's maybe Aussie rhyming slang, but they have some in Australian English too. Some of them come from Cockney rhyming slang, and some are newly created ones that are similar. Paul's language videos are the East and West. So of course, East and West rhymes with best. So he means my videos are the best, which is a nice compliment. I'm going to blue. I have to be honest with you. When I first saw this one, the first thought in my head was, I'm going to poo. But I don't think that's what he meant. What did he really mean? I'm going to blue. I think, what would this be? Blue and red. I'm going to bed. That's what it was. But my first impression when I saw it was, I'm going to poo. Why would you write that? But I think it means I'm going to bed. I went to the White House and ate so much I had to take a Donald. So Donald, Trump, rhymes with dump. I had to take a dump. I'm sure some people love this one and some people don't love it as much. I have to ham. Ham and cheese rhymes with sneeze. I have to sneeze. So these are all interesting examples that people just created on the spot. I had such a strange berry last night. This one I'm still not sure if I'm understanding it correctly. In context, I guessed that it means I had such a strange dream last night. So I had to go backwards and think, like, what's the rhyme for dream? So I would think that it means, like, it must be something like berry cream. But I don't know what kind of dessert that's referring to, berry cream. But that seems to be the only thing that would rhyme with dream. In context, I think it means I had a strange dream. I lost my bee. Is it under the Oscar? I lost my earring. So I'm not sure what the bring is there, but I think that means like bee sting. I lost my earring. Earring rhymes with bee sting. Is it under the couch? Grouch. Oscar the Grouch rhymes with couch. So bee sting rhymes with ring. Okay, so it's, yeah, I lost my earring. I lost my ring under the couch. This one. I watched Lang Phlegm Channel. Phlegm and mucus. Mucus rhymes with focus. Kind of. This guy's not a native speaker of English, I think, but he thinks mucus and focus rhyme, so he changed Lang Focus into Lang Phlegm. Phlegm and mucus. I don't know what to think of that one. I'm pretty sure him and his friend are knights. So I guess it's nights and days. So I think this is saying I'm pretty sure him and his friend are gay or gays. So I wasn't sure if I should include this one, but it just seemed like an observation and not like a judgment. So I thought, okay, I can include this one. Why not? Okay, here's mine. Hey, Teddy, who's your date for the ball? The problem is all the good ones are Canadian. So I'm going Marco. So the date for the ball means like the date for the formal party, like a graduation party or something like that. So someone says the good ones are Canadian. So Canadian bacon rhymes with taken. So all the good potential dates are already taken. They already have a date. So I'm going Marco Polo solo. Marco Polo rhymes with solo. All the good potential dates are taken, so I'm going solo. Which is fair enough, or you can go with your friends and have fun without having a date. Okay, you made a mistake in the 6:40 minute mark. You put list instead of list. So I misspelled the name of the composer. Just a little chocolate cake, mistake. So chocolate cake rhymes with mistake. Okay, this is one from Ocean's 11, the famous movie. So unless we intend to do this job in Reno, we're in Barney. Rubble. Trouble. I remember, this is the only scene I remember from the movie. I guess the whole movie wasn't very memorable, but that one scene was because I remember they all had a blank stare on their face, a blank look on their face when he said, we're in Barney. They looked at him like, what? And he had to explain, Barney Rubble, trouble. He had to walk them through that example of Cockney rhyming slang to help them understand. And that was one of the best moments of the movie, in my opinion. Fun fact, the word blowing a raspberry is actually a Cockney slang because raspberry tart rhymes with fart. So if you don't know what blowing a raspberry is, that's when you do this with your mouth. You go like that. Like I have a little kid. I have a 4-year-old son. When he was two years old, he used to go. We called that blowing a raspberry. But that comes from raspberry tart, which rhymes with fart. That sound is like a fart sound, right? So that's why we call it a raspberry tart. It's like calling it a fart. So, but it's shortened to raspberry, not raspberry tart, as all these slang phrases are. They're all abbreviated to just the first word in the phrase, usually. In South Africa, a lot of people use China to refer to friends, which comes from the Cockney slang China plate. China plate rhymes with mate, right? China plate rhymes with mate. So it's interesting that it spread even to South Africa. But I guess that's because of immigration there from the UK. Now this one, I have to be careful what I say with this one. A few things are sanitized by Cockney rhyming slang and common English speech, which would be pretty rude otherwise. Burke is a vanilla insult across the UK, but comes from Berkeley Hunt, which, you know. So Berkeley Hunt, I guess that's a person's name. I don't know who that is. Must be someone famous in the UK. But Berkeley Hunt rhymes with a bad word that I can't say on the stream. Well, I could, but I shouldn't. So instead of saying the original word, you can take it through a few iterations and say it a distant way like this, like Burke. People have to think about the original meaning to know what you're trying to say. Now this comment was interesting. This is to wind up this section of the viewers giving their own examples. I think this has to be the first explanation of a phenomenon of the existence of communal genius. While we tend to think of genius as something exhibited by a singular person, the communal genius is a collaboration. To say or think that the Cockney are illiterate or uneducated is a failure to recognize collective genius. To me, they are a wellspring of verbal banter that probably goes back to Will Shakespeare and helps to explain how he created some 26,000 words that are now part of the English language. The King's English. Fascinating. Yeah, it's interesting. Like there is a difference between like class and intelligence, or education level and intelligence. So sometimes some very creative things come from poor neighborhoods or lower socioeconomic status neighborhoods, right? So it's not always a formal education that makes people creative. Sometimes it's almost the opposite. People with a formal education might be less creative because they're not focusing on creativity as much as studying and regurgitating the information they've learned and preparing for a future career that's less creative, right? If I think about something like rap music in the United States, like I know some people look down on it and think, oh, it's vulgar and whatever, and maybe some of it is, but there are also like literary features of it, literary tendencies within rap music. Like something I noticed is that in a lot of rap music, the performer, the singer or rapper has an alter ego. So they have themselves, but there's also an alter ego, and they rap as both. And sometimes you're not sure which one it is, and you have to think about it. You have to think about the context and what they're saying. And sometimes it's intentionally vague. So you have to make smart decisions about which person is speaking, right? And some of them cause controversy by doing that. So maybe that's part of why they do it. But it's also, you have to make like literary decisions about what you're listening to, right? There are literary distinctions that kids seem to pick up on, but people who are not directly familiar with the music, the parents don't always pick up on. But it's interesting that there's that kind of creativity in music that people think is just vulgar, right? Maybe some of it is. There's some rap music I don't like because it's too vulgar, and I don't like as much of it as I used to, but I still like a lot of the stuff that's on the more intelligent side and on the more educational side or creative, artistic side. Is that the last slide? I think that's the last slide. Okay, I am back. Okay, we're having some little technical difficulties, not big ones, but if I seem distracted sometimes, it's because during a live stream, there's all these different things to look at and all these different buttons I have to push, and I have to monitor certain things on different screens and pick up my headphones and listen for things. So I'm never quite sure exactly what's going on. So I'm going to look at the comments a little bit, and then we might look at some other things after that. Let me jump in with you guys for a little bit. Okay, I'm going to have to go way back to find new comments. Hold on a second. Something's not working properly. Oh man, I can't highlight comments. Okay, anyway, I'm going to look at your comments anyway. Okay, so Devitt Tam B says, your videos are so interesting. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, we've got a super chat. Oh, we've got a super chat. Let me see. Who is it? This is VKID1DV. $20 super chat. Wow, let's go. Thank you very much. Love your videos. Keep them coming. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here for the live stream, and thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, and every donation like that helps, and you being here and joining me helps. So I really appreciate the support. Thank you very much. We've got an interesting comment from Snooze Sheep. Chocolate cakes are never mistakes. That's a good point. I agree with you. Chocolate cake is never a mistake. Unless you're on my current diet, then it is a mistake, but it's never, I was going to say you never regret it, but actually you do regret it, but anyway, everything in balance, right? Okay, so someone gave another example, I think. Anthony17 Mapoy 46 says, pork becomes fork, spoon and fork. Do we have enough? And then, okay, I'm not sure he's doing like a recursive example. Pork becomes fork, and that becomes spoon and fork, and that refers to a spoon. I think he's written it in reverse. Okay, so pork is referring to a spoon. I see. So pork rhymes with fork, spoon and fork. I'm having trouble following this one. I'm gonna have to think about that for a minute. Apparently the Berkeley Hunt is a group of hunting dogs founded by the Berkeley family. Oh, are you serious? I didn't know that. Okay, now speaking of speaking of technical difficulties, now I see highlighted comments appearing on the screen when they shouldn't be. That's weird. Okay, give me a second and I'll try to sort this out. There must be an option to remove all of these at one time. Man, these plugins. You got to be kidding me. Now all the comments are appearing on the screen. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be highlighted comments only. Oh, brother. Okay, I'm going to have to turn those off. Okay, technical difficulties as usual. Okay, I'm going to look at a few more comments, and then after that, I'm going to do something else with you for a little while. Okay, so someone said, live, it's a pleasant surprise. Terima kasih dari Malaysia. Yeah, sama-sama. I'm very happy that you're here. Thank you. It's interesting because you have to know the second word to understand the slang. Yeah, that's the funny thing about the rhyming slang is that it has two words, right? And you delete the rhyming word. So you have to guess what the second word is in order to know what the rhyme is. But that's why, like, most of the ones you make up never actually become widespread. Like, people might make them up amongst their friends and they understand them, but you really need to use the same ones over and over in order for everyone to understand what they mean. They sort of become, you know, common knowledge. You can't just make up random ones and have everybody understand them. Okay, something else I want to look at for a little while is a few memes for the Lang folk. Memes for the Lang folk. And again, I see another comment appearing on the screen. So anyway, why does it say the Lang folk? It says the Lang folk because this is Lang Focus, and you are the Lang folk. You are the people who watch Lang Focus. So you need a name. You need a way for me to refer to you. So from now on, you are the Lang folk. Why not? Okay, so we're going to look at a couple of memes because memes are fun, and memes always have a kernel of truth that let us laugh. And if we're all language enthusiasts, then memes about languages can entertain us, and we'll be able to relate to them and laugh at them in a little way. But all I have to do is find the button that's missing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is Homer Simpson, as you probably know. So he has a devil on his shoulder and an angel on his shoulder. The angel is saying, going for B2 in my second language, which is a good idea. The devil saying, go for A1 in another language. Right? Instead of your second language, why not go for a third language? Why not start another one after that? Right? You're always tempted to start a new language when you're a language enthusiast, even though the best thing would probably be to continue with the one that you're currently focused on, but it's very easy to get distracted by the latest shiny object, isn't it? It's something we all struggle with. And this is sort of related. See, there are two roads here. The two roads are the two possible roads that you can take, the two choices that you can make. So there's getting a C1 in a language. So a C1 is like an advanced level in a language, and getting B1 proficiency in 3 languages. So a lot of language enthusiasts will very quickly take the road to the right, and we'll get a B1 proficiency in 3 languages rather than sticking with one until you reach C1. And I understand the reason, because to get from a B2 level to C1 is probably harder than getting from 0 to B2, in my opinion. You just hit so many more roadblocks, and the challenges become bigger, and your improvement just it starts to feel slower, because you already have such a big base that every improvement is just a smaller percentage of your current ability. So it just becomes difficult to feel any improvement. And when you're at a B2 level, people start to think you're fluent like a native, so they start to speak to you more quickly, and they start to expect you to speak really quickly, so they get more impatient with you, things like that. So the pressure builds, and it becomes sort of harder to meet people where they're at. Learning a language spoken in many countries is option 1. Learning a language spoken in just one country, that's option 2. So again, I guess this is a joke about how you can't really control what you become interested in, right? You're either interested in a language or you're not. And if you try to learn a language that you're not really interested in, you'll get burnt out really quickly. So if you're lucky, you might get irrationally interested in a language that's also very useful. Like you might love Spanish, or you might love French, or you might love Chinese. But if you love Esperanto, then sucks to be you. Sucks to be you. I said that in a video I made a while back. Actually, I think it might be my first video on the channel, when I talked about, like, should I learn a useful language or a language that I'm really interested in? And I made a joke about Esperanto being useless. And if you are irrationally interested in Esperanto, you're just unlucky, because you can never really use it. I know Esperantists will argue with me about that and say, no, we use it. We use the passport system, and we visit people in other countries and stuff. But basically, outside of that system, you can't use Esperanto. But some people just get obsessed with it, and that's the only language they want to focus on. And other people learn it as just one of several languages they study. Okay, so this is a variation of a famous meme that was circulating a few years ago, where the guy is walking with his girlfriend, but turns around to look at a different woman, and his girlfriend is pissed off. But in this case, they've changed it, so they're both looking away from the attractive woman walking past, rather than the man being distracted by her. He's ignoring her. Why? Because, let me show you right here. Whoops, that's not supposed to happen. This is supposed to happen. My cursor is supposed to move. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Technical difficulties. all throughout the stream. Native speaker of target language interested in having a conversation. Introverted language students. They're looking the other way. So this is a joke about how introverted students are really into studying languages, and they really focus on learning them well in a textbook sort of environment, but when they have the opportunity to speak to someone face to face, they shy away, right? Even though that's how you really get to the next level in the language, and that's how you put together everything you've studied and turn them into integrated skills, right? Applied integrated skills by using them and speaking to people, right? But introverts like myself and other people have a tendency to avoid that situation and shy away from conversational practice. And we like sticking to books and things because that's our comfort zone. But it's also a little bit it's also a little bit like skydiving or something, right? When you're nervous to talk to someone or you're shy and you actually do it, afterwards you often feel elated, right? Like you did something that's scary, you conquered your fears, and you don't regret it. You feel like, yes, I did it, right? And I always feel like that after an italki tutoring session or something. Afterwards, I'm always happy I did it, and I'm almost like high off the experience because I had some anxiety or fear about speaking in my target language, but I did it. Now I feel like a release, right? That feeling is very good. So if you focus on that rather than on the fear, if you focus on like, I'm going to feel great after this, I'm going to feel like I really achieved something, then you might be more likely to do it, right? I have to go back to my slide menu. Okay, here we are. My target language in my mind. A nice, beautiful, brand new Pikachu from the store. My target language when a native speaker suddenly approaches me and forces me to react without thinking. Now, this is not the nicest Pikachu. I guess it's a homemade Pikachu, maybe. Not as pristine, not as smooth, not as perfect as the one you have up above. Because that's when your ability is really tested, right? So it's like I was saying, introverts especially like to study in books or in controlled environments. And when they're in an uncontrolled environment, everything goes out the window and they have to just, grab whatever scraps they remember and put them together to try to create some meaning and to understand, right? So it's really different from studying in a controlled environment, at least at first, until you build that skill of thinking on the spot and then putting all of those connections together subconsciously. The Duolingo bird when I haven't finished a lesson in 2 days. Beg for your life in Spanish. Beg for your life. This is, of course, a big meme these days because you always get those notification mails from Duolingo when you forget to do a lesson, those threatening emails. You're going to forget everything. You're going to forget everything you've learned if you don't do your next lesson. That kind of thing. I made that video, Duolingo is the devil, 10 years ago or 11 years ago, actually. And a lot of people say that I made that video before the meme because that hadn't really become a meme yet. Because that wasn't really what Duolingo was doing back then. Duolingo was just having you practice crazy sentences as a learning mnemonic. I think it was intentional as a learning mnemonic. But nowadays, what the reason that they're known as scary, in a joking way, is because of those notifications and all of the pressure they put on you to like keep going and to never stop using the app. So the joke is that it feels threatening, right? If you don't use the app, you're in trouble. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do this one. This is my second language proficiency. This dog standing on the 4 cans, balanced precariously on top of them. And those 4 cans consist of these parts. Words I know from songs, what I can remember from my lessons, Duolingo, and cognates from my first language. Cognates meaning words that are similar and come from the same origin, right? So if you're learning a language, these are like your crutches. These are the things that help you sort of piece together a conversation when you don't know what else to use. So maybe you don't know the exact vocabulary to use, but you remember these bits and pieces you can put together. But what I like most about this meme is just the feeling of balancing, right? Like you could feel like everything's going to collapse and you won't be able to communicate. You're going to lose the flow at any second, but you stick with it and make use of the crutches that you have, and you put together some kind of conversation, even though it's not perfect, which is totally fine. Yeah, holding yourself to a standard of perfection is how you prevent yourself from doing anything, right? That you feel intimidated to do anything. Perfectionism really kills any kind of improvement, because if you want to be seen as perfect, or if you think you need to like show people that you can do everything well, then you can never improve, because when you're starting, you always start at 0, right? To get to 100, you have to go from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 100. You can't jump from 0 to 100, right? So having any kind of expectation of perfection from yourself just kills your progress. So it's better to accept, like, I suck. These are just my opinions. I'm not like the best language learner out there. But it's better to say to yourself, I suck, and it's okay if everyone knows that I suck. And then eventually you won't, but at the beginning you have to accept that people will think you do. And that's how you get better. That's still on the screen, huh? Okay, I have to end the stream fairly soon, but I'm going to look at a couple more comments just to see what's happening. Esperantists put the eye upon you. Remember, they have long hands. What does that mean? That's an interesting comment, but I'm not quite sure what you mean. It sounds something like what's that called? The word is slipping my mind because it's after midnight here and I'm tired. What do you call the people who control the world? It's like does it start with an I? Why is the word slipping my mind? Anyway, there's like the rich people, rich, powerful, secret people of the world who control the world. I forget the name, but it sounds something like that. Like Esperantists are behind them and they're putting their hand on everything. Jonathan the Great, native Hebrew speaker here. Shalom, Baruch haba. So the logic, that means welcome, by the way, to the people who don't know Hebrew. And Jonathan says he's a big fan of my channel. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, but it looks like most of the people are taking off, and I've got to go to bed, and I'm running out of steam, as you can probably see. I'm starting to nod off, so let's end the stream in a moment. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you being here. There will be more streams like this in the future. If you like this kind of stream, like a Throwback Thursday kind of stream, where I review one of my past videos and then elaborate on it or talk to you about it. If you like this kind of thing, let me know. Just leave your comments and tell me what you think. So thank you very much for being here. And I'll see you again in the next one. Have a nice night.